Hello everyone, and welcome to this video on a new Tide of Iron scenario I've been working on. This is the end of the first playtest, and it's called Little Stalingrad, where the beasts were caged on the Battle of Poniri, the northern sector of the Kursk offensive in 1943. Well, this first playtest session has been quite satisfactory. This is a situation at the end of round 11, which is the end of the game, and the Germans have 65 victory points and the Russians have 54. So the only thing I'm not quite happy about is if you look at the situation on the board, it's about control of the victory points, which you can see obviously denoted by the victory medals. The Russians get 1 point for each of them they control each round, and the Germans 5. So obviously in the beginning, the Russians start with a head start because of typically, well, I think it typically will take that number of turns, like 3 or 4, before the Germans take over at least 1 and perhaps 2. And there has indeed been some fighting going on over these two objectives, a little bit less fighting over the hill, which probably the Russians should have done more, because had they controlled one more objective for a long time, that would have made a big difference. But the only thing that doesn't sit quite well with me yet is that the Germans have actually won this scenario, whereas in real life they really needed to break through, exit some vehicles off the board, which they actually get points for if they do manage to do that. But yeah, they haven't exited a single one. They far from control all the victory markers. If they do, it's actually a sudden death victory. Yeah, and so what I'm probably going to do is have the Germans get 4 victory points each round for each medal they control, rather than 5. Assuming that they'll get 1 or 2 on rounds 3 or 4, that should really make a difference of like 14 points or something. And I think that would reflect the actual historical battle more, because then this ending of this scenario would have actually signified a Russian win, not by a big margin, but it would be a Russian win, which I believe is what the situation on the battlefield actually depicts at this point. Something about the new units. This is an elephant or a Ferdinand from Memoir 44. It's very slow. It's got speed 3, but armor 5, but with extra thick armor, so any 2 defense rolls are automatically turned into a 6. We also have an Su-76, open topped, against vehicles, 7 dice at range 7, armor 3. What else do we have? Brumbeer here. It's especially good against infantry, range 8, firepower 10, of course concussive firepower as well, so it's a real beast against infantry in buildings. This scenario allows for entrenchments to be set up, and actually many buildings already start with an entrenchment in them, which signifies fortified buildings. So buildings have a cover of 5 rather than 3, which is really necessary in this scenario. What else? There was an Su-152 as well, 2 of them, but they both got destroyed. And am I forgetting any new units then? I don't really think so. Yeah, so all in all, a very enjoyable scenario. And I think with the small adjustment of actually having the Germans gain 4 victory points for each victory medal they can control at the end of their turn, turning that into 4 rather than 5 will make a very big difference, will make it much closer, and this will actually result in a loss. As I said, the Russians could have contested the hill more, could have counterattacked, which actually happened a lot in the actual battle as well. I will soon make another video on the setup of this scenario, so you can see what that looks like as well. And yeah, overall, I've found it to be very enjoyable. You can see instant mines as well, by the way, which can be laid by engineer squads. The elephants, Ferdinands, are also vulnerable to infantry attacks from close range. They all get to roll 2 more dice, and they can't fire at infantry from close range, and they lose their extra thick armor trait. So that's something that's going on as well. Yeah, so all in all, a very enjoyable playtest. It's a long scenario, it's a big scenario with lots of units. These certainly aren't all the units that the board sees at a given time. Many of them have been destroyed by this point. But yeah, overall, a very enjoyable scenario. And if you read up on the battle, you could actually see a lot of historical things going on in this scenario as well, up to a certain extent. So, thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.